Ensuring that we are diversifying the fundraising profession. Hi, I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz. This is the first day from the fundraising school, and I'm joined today by Jim Moore. Jim is the president and CEO of the University of Illinois Foundation, the lead organization raising charitable dollars for the University of Illinois system across the land of Lincoln. And Jim, thanks so much for being with us here with the podcast here for the fundraising school. Help people understand, what is your leadership role at the University of Illinois?
Well, first of all, thank you, Bill, for having me. My responsibility at the University of Illinois is to manage our foundation, and the foundation is responsible for managing all fundraising programs for the system. So we have a large matrixed organization that consists of 3 universities, our flagship institution at Urbana-Champaign, our growing and large public urban university in Chicago, and then our smaller regional campus in Springfield.
Oh, very good. Big job, big leadership opportunity, a lot of fundraising responsibility. And Jim is with us as part of the Mays Institute, a new institute at the Indiana University Lilly Family School of Philanthropy that is looking at these issues of diversity and inclusion and equity related to philanthropy overall, charitable giving, and yes, Jim, the fundraising profession. What is the landscape right now related to diversity and fundraising?
Well, it's out of balance, quite honestly, when you think about the populations that our universities consist of. And historically, while they had been predominantly white here in America, we're seeing our populations become more diverse, and our fundraisers have not followed. Our fundraising staffs have not followed, and we know we need to address that now more than ever.
When you look at the data, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the population of the United States by about 2050, and I tell my students, I don't like this phrase, it's the one the U.S. Census Bureau uses, we're going to be a majority-minority country, meaning people of color will be in the majority by about 2050. And yet, Jim, as you indicated, the fundraising profession, according to the research from Dr. Temple and Dr. Nathan at our school, shows that the fundraising profession is at least 75% Caucasian.
Correct.
So what steps can we take to help those two data points meet and help the fundraising profession become more diverse as the culture becomes more diverse?
Well, we need to make it a priority. We need to make it a priority as leaders in the profession to identify talent, recruit talent into the business, really let young people know while they're students on our campuses that this is a profession. I think in part, a lot of our students, regardless of their race and ethnic background, don't understand our business. And so introducing the profession to young people early, taking responsibility for attempting to diversify our teams. We've seen that happen in terms of gender diversity over the last many years. We now have a lot more women in the profession. We don't have women where we need them to be in the leadership roles yet, and I think that needs to be, again, thoughtful, strategic, and deliberate in our planning. CASE, our professional association, I think has done a really good job over the last many years creating institutes, internship programs. We've developed a Minority Advancement Institute that now it really looks to mid-career professionals to help take them to the next step, mid-career professionals who come from diverse backgrounds. So we need to be thoughtful, deliberate, and intentional, and leadership has to buy in. I think that's really where it has to start.
What are the highlights of your career that led you to where you are now as a successful professional in the fundraising area?
Oh, goodness. I've been really fortunate to work with people who took time with me to really give me personal attention and mentorship. And I think that's really important. I think as you look at evolving in any sector of business, having somebody that will put their arm around you and let you ask the hard questions, sometimes the questions that may not sound so smart but need to be asked.
Right.
And that really, I think, made a difference in my career. Having people along the way help me think through what options I might have in this business. I knew nothing about advancement and higher education fundraising until I really got into it.
And do you see that happening to you now that you're a successful leader? Do you see, folks from diverse populations coming to you or other colleagues in the field, tapping on the shoulder and saying, Mr. Moore, how do I do this?
I do, and it's really exciting when that happens. I'll be real honest with you. I'd probably would like to spend more time pulling people in to the business and being more proactive. I mean, we make diversity a priority when we look at hiring, and our hiring managers know it's important to look for diverse candidates. But on a personal level, running a big organization, it's not always easy to go out and grab people and pull them in. We have an internship program that's been very successful at Illinois, and that's allowed us to create a little bit of a pipeline to build our own and grow our own. I encourage my colleagues to take those calls, and when people call, spend some time with them. But I also encourage the young people to be sure they take advantage of those offers. Unfortunately, too many young people don't take advantage of those offers from people like me or you to be able to advise and counsel them.
Jim, you talked about the importance of hiring, keeping diversity in the forefront. What steps do you take and that other nonprofits can learn from, whether they're in higher ed or just the philanthropic sector overall, to ensure that we have a diverse applicant pool? If we have a diverse applicant pool, that would seem to lead to the opportunities to have a diverse workforce. What steps do we need to take to make sure we have full diversity amongst our applicants?
You do have to work a bit harder at it. You have to look in maybe non-traditional sectors and spaces where you might not think there would be candidates. Look for people who have transferable skills. I'm a bit biased as a former college athlete. I look to our athletic departments. I think student athletes have a level of discipline and commitment that they're used to. They're also very competitive, and I've found that community has offered some opportunities for success. But you have to maybe look in areas where there may be transferable skills, and not just people who have a book of experience.
It's important advice as we try to diversify the fundraising profession. We need to be very intentional about that. And of course, having a diverse talent pool can help us do so as well. Then what about at the earlier stages in terms of professional development, whether it's the fundraising school, which is executive education, or higher ed, where you're employed, you have bachelor, master, doctoral degrees at the University of Illinois, same of course at Indiana University. How can we get more folks into that professional development pipeline if either they're not aware of those opportunities or maybe don't yet see themselves there?
Yeah. Well, I do think we as a sector can do better at that, whether it's on our own campuses or even making sure that people understand what schools like the Lilly School have to offer. And the CEOs and vice presidents that run these entities need to be a bit more they need to think more about those resources in their onboarding of people. They need to think more about those resources when they're talking to young people on their campuses. And I've really been impressed with what the Lilly School does, and I think we can probably make sure people like me do a better job of making sure people understand what you do as well.
Well, you're a great role model for the profession, all of us, as you lead at the University of Illinois. Let me ask you this lastly, Jim. I mean, obviously diversity is the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Right. Morally, it's the right thing to do. What about particular to fundraising? Why is it important to have that diverse board and that diverse fundraising staff as we think about the growing diversity amongst today's donors?
Well, you just said it. I mean, our donors come from all manner of backgrounds and all walks of life, and their communities that they live in are diverse, and I think if we don't approach them where they are, I think that we're going to miss opportunities to talk about things that they're passionate about, and how our institutions can help them advance those passions. So it makes sense for all of the right reasons, and I always say there's really no secret sauce here. It's in many respects it's just thinking about where human beings are, where our communities are going, and being able to meet them where they are.
Jim, when I think about that topic, I think different donors have different motivations. That's the art of fundraising, is understanding those motivations. And people are people, and yet people from different communities might have different perspectives and have different viewpoints. And as leaders in the philanthropic sector, how important is it for us to be aware of those different viewpoints?
Well, there are so many different ways that donors interact with us, and every day in this job you have an opportunity really to learn something new about something or someone, and I think that's the beauty of diversity. It's ever changing and it's constantly evolving, and we're in a place where we need to stay up with that, and our donors will expect us to be learned and knowledgeable about difference, and so I think it's critical.
Well, Jim, we are smarter and we are enriched because of your time with us through the Mays Institute. Thanks for taking time to
Thank
be
you.
with us here.
My pleasure.
Jim Moore is the president and CEO of the University of Illinois Foundation, providing important leadership for that leading institution of post-secondary education, and also providing leadership on this vitally important topic of diversity and philanthropy, and in this particular case, diversity and the fundraising profession. Now, if you want more information, the Mays Institute, M-A-Y-S, the Mays Institute, is available on our college's website. The address there is philanthropy.iupui.edu. Philanthropy.iupui.edu. You'll find all of our college's resources, including those of the Mays Institute. If you slide over to the Professional Development tab, that's where you find the Fundraising School. 17 public courses in 16 U.S. cities, one of which is in Illinois, up in Chicago, one of our more popular training sites. We also can bring custom training right to you. We have quarterly webinars, these weekly podcasts, many different ways that we can help strengthen your fundraising. I'm Bill Stanczykiewicz, and now you are now more up to date on this first day from the Fundraising School.